We all know that Wuhan was ground zero for COVID, but China would never admit that. They would also never admit that the Wuhan lab leaked the virus, even though it's a beefed up virus, and even though the Wuhan lab has been studying COVID in bats for over a decade there. Many on the right pointed out that obviously COVID-19 is a gain-of-function virus that was released from the Wuhan lab, and that the chances of it being a bioweapon are also quite high. But this, like all other claims that turned out to be true, was called a kooky conspiracy theory. However, like clockwork, the evidence is mounting in our favor. A new House Intelligence Committee report is sounding the alarm, claiming that the COVID origins could very well have been linked to a Chinese bioweaponry program. A summary of the findings reads, quote, "Contrary to the implication of the Intelligence Committee's declassified report, based on our investigation involving a variety of public and non-public information, we conclude that there are indications that SARS-CoV-2 may have been tied to China's biological weapon research program and spilled over to the human population during a lab-related incident at the Wuhan Institute of Virology." To help me make sense of this, I want to bring in Dr. Li Mingyang. You may have heard of her. She's risked her life to expose the nefarious truth behind COVID-19 from the very beginning of the pandemic. She's been labeled an enemy of the CCP. The Chinese government would love nothing more than to shut her up. But we have her on right now to discuss. Dr. Yang, thank you so much for being here. What can you tell us about China's ambitions for bioweaponry? Does this report from the House Intel Committee carry any water that COVID could be a bioweapon?
Thank you, Smith, and thank you for the invite. And first, I want to tell people the House Intelligence Committee has published a good report, which is a very good progress in the investigation of COVID origin. And that's fundamentally important for Americans and also Chinese and also the world for the future security. Yes, China has long-term bioweapon strategy and program. Since Xi Jinping became the chairman in 2012, he has already reorganized the whole situation, whole system, and also push it more aggressively. So that from that period to now, we see the development of the military-civilian fusion programs, including the bioweapon program in China. And COVID-19 is actually a weaponized virus, and although it didn't fit the traditional bioweapon concept, like cause the immediate large death and hurt, it has like less than 2% death rate. However, according to People's Liberation Army's definition in their document, that this kind of novel weaponized virus with low death rate actually can undermine the enemy's society with better outcomes. And also, America is always a primary enemy for China government. And actually, we have seen the virus has caused a huge damage and loss in America. And also, after that, China feels so confident and they become more aggressive.
So you feel fairly confident that COVID-19 has been a bioweapon all along. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I called it as unrestricted bioweapon, which is a new term that means you have to adjust a little bit about the traditional bioweapon concept. But let's talk about the function. It can harm people, it can cause a lot of social damage, and also it brings more chaos than a single bomb, which with the traditional bioweapons in certain cities, right? So this all show you that this virus is very powerful, and at least you go back to say the pandemic in the beginning when U.S. has no preparation, it really caused quite a lot of damage, and that's what China government want. It is weaponized, and they are working on more weaponized pathogens in the labs.
Now, you obviously, if anyone would know any of this, it would be you. You grew up there. You're a Chinese virologist, and you started sounding the alarm on this right when the pandemic sort of became public and started to come to America's shores. Are you worried about what the Chinese government might want to do to you? Obviously, I would doubt that you could travel back to China saying what you're saying and being honest about what they're doing, right? Are you worried about what they might do?
Not only travel back, I'm always under the persecution since I started to reveal the truth. Although I'm luckily escaped to the United States and get a lot of help from people. However, China government never stopped hunting me. So you may have heard about the Operation Fox Hunt, and that is China government launched for dissidents. So I'm one of the targets, and they use my husband to hunt me in United States. They even sent my husband to work in the University of Pennsylvania and to look for the right property, right opportunity to get close to me. And also there are other teams hunting me from China, from their military. They try their best also to discredit me, to make me look like dismantle or discreditable. Then people would ignore my evidence. And what I can do is keep telling truth. And my 3 year reports also show the very fundamental evidence and the smoking gun that why this is made in the CCP's lab and which are the principal scientists involved, the scientific evidence, and also their international network, as well as the concept of the unrestricted bioweapon. Even I'm disappeared by them, people still can, based on the Yan reports, to find out the truth.
Wow. And I'm sorry, did you say the Chinese government tried to summon your husband to get information on you? Your husband?
Yes, so that was not a secret now. And my husband, unfortunately, he's another WHO expert, Sri Lankan person working with the WHO big expert in our lab, because our lab at the University of Hong Kong is WHO reference lab. So that's why my boss actually involved into this program, and he knew more than that. So after I start to reveal the truth, they become, when the boss and CCP knows that, and they won't stop me from Hong Kong to US. My husband unfortunately helped them, but failed. So that's why I managed to go to US. After that, they tried to use my husband to stop the report in US, like Fox News was disturbed by them. And also China government managed to send him to United States, and also he got 2 year permission working visa here since last year. And I had also information intelligence to show that they still continually conducting more this kind of plans, try to shut me up and also send me back to China or simply kill me.
Well, we certainly applaud you for your courage. It's just incredible how they are treating you and what they're trying to do to you, and the fact that you're standing up to them and not letting that intimidate you. We appreciate you, Dr. Li-Meng Yang, speaking the truth. Thanks so much for being on the show today. It was an honor to talk to you.
Thank you, Smith.